Wait, this is about Velma, right? Is this
Yes.
the Velma clip? Yes. The Blaze
When I
is,
saw this yesterday, I said this is the perfect Thursday fun half content for all of us, but particularly for Brandon, because here is Glenn Beck speaking about his frustration about the new Scooby Doo spin-off series Velma, because there's no Scooby Doo in it. It's all just wokeness.
Well, there might be, so we'll talk about that after.
Whoa! Spoiler alert! Twist. But Glenn Beck is outraged, and I think we might have some sound drops that can come out of this video for sure.
This is the HBO Scooby Doo spinoff, which doesn't even include Scooby Doo. Shaggy has been replaced by a black man named Norville. Fred is the only white character, so he's evil. He's a privileged misogynist who can't dress or feed himself. Velma is a black Asian, and Daphne is half Asian, half white, and they're both bisexual. Obviously, there's more than one lesbian kissing scene. Another scene features teenage boys kissing. And there's plenty of examples of DOINKS sexualizing children.
Okay, pause.
So, wait,
That's my favorite.
Okay, hold on.
So first of all, dude, it's not Doinks. Like, it's Zoinks, right? Am I
Zoinks.
mistaken?
It's Zoinks, yeah. If
He
you're
went
gonna
hard
complain-
with the D. No pun intended.
If you're gonna complain about your sacred childhood cartoon being desecrated by this modern interpretation of it, you damn well better know its most famous catchphrase. I mean, come on.
Exactly.
Also, I'm
He
gonna-
can't be that pissed off if he doesn't even know what how to say the catchphrase. Go on.
Also, I want to be clear. Norville has always been Shaggy's real name. Like it's not as though like Shaggy. That's not the Shaggy was his like first name. It's always been Norville Shaggy Rogers. You know.
I mean,
So-
that's another thing he should have probably known if you're going to get this up in arms about it.
I mean, but he's claiming that this is like this piece of IP that is incredibly near and dear to his heart, and he still can't get just the basics right.
Before we move on, do we all agree? And I haven't watched it. I'm not going to. But do we all agree that it is a desecration of IP to the extent like we respect intellectual property? I've heard nothing but bad things about this show.
Same, and I don't care to watch it, but I don't.
Right.
But that doesn't make
This is
me
about
angry.
media, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Our problem with the show is that it's bad. Like the writing is bad. Their problem with the show is that it's woke.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different. It's very different problem. Or they perceive it
Story
as
elements.
woke. Yes.
Well,
Then by
I will
woke
say-
they mean black people in the cartoon who shouldn't be. That's what they
Gay
mean by
people,
woke.
etc. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I'm an iconoclast, so you know I love how they've desecrated Scooby Doo. Even as a Scooby Doo fan, I think it's something admirable in a world where like shows are always pandering to people. I think it's admirable how much Scooby Doo offends every audience.
Right.
Like I'm sorry, Velma specifically offends every audience. He has latched onto the anti-woke stuff, but if you really watch it, there's a lot of, the pro-woke stuff, I guess, like Shaggy being black and Velma being, he said black Asian. I think she's just Indian. I don't think she's like part black at all in that, but I'm not sure about that. I think, I'm pretty sure she's just Indian. But I guess you can call those black Asians if you'd like.
The new conservative vernacular just dropped. All Indian people from now on are black Asians.
They're the black Asians. Yeah.
Maybe she's half black. I didn't seem to be important. I will say though, like even like the quote unquote liberals and woke people don't like it because ultimately, like everything he said about it is true, but then it also like throws in like anti-woke jokes all the time. Like they'll like in the same way that Tina Fey I mentioned last week tries to do like, be self-deprecating about like what liberals are ultimately about. They try that too, but it comes across as mean-spirited. And so a lot of times it'll just be like, yeah, they're mean to Fred for being a privileged white kid with affluence or whatever, but then they just really give it to Velma for her like flaws. And, some of those flaws are rooted in like sort of like liberal ideals, like I guess body positivity or whatever. But and I think, spoiler alert, based on the last episode I saw, which is episode 4, that they might have replaced Scooby-Doo with a black girl. Like they might have replaced like the dog Scooby-Doo with a goth black girl. And when you say that,
show. Keep it up. This is the thing, right? Because if the show's bad, I don't really care. I didn't have interest in watching it. It's fine that it's bad. It seems specifically designed to trigger this kind of discourse from the Glenn Becks of the world. And for that, from a content perspective, I want the show to be renewed for like 7 to 8 more seasons.
Oh yeah, no.
Wait till they drop their version of Scrappy. It's gonna be a sentient aborted fetus. I assume.
It should be Justin Rowland. I mean, I heard he's free.
Cast Jussie Smollett. Cast Jussie Smollett as Scrappy Doo. Do it now.
But it should be like a live action Jussie Smollett that just like infused into the cartoon. Yeah, every decision is just baffling. It's just like a really more than bad. It's a really weird show. I don't understand how it got made, because like if without the Scooby Doo part, people like are saying it's lazily slapped on. I agree, but like without the Scooby Doo part, it would be incomprehensible, because it's only because of what you know about Scooby Doo that gives like the entire story any kind of coherence, because then you go, oh, okay, so I get this is how Velma becomes Velma. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of things that keep happening that are ultimately unrelated, except for like in the most shallow way.
All right, well, let's see what Glenn Beck has to say. We stopped it after the Zoinks sexualizing children.
DOINKS.
I'm sorry, DOINKS, right. I actually know a little bit about Scooby Doo. Glenn Beck does not. Here he goes.
I want to hear what he thinks Jinkies is. Please, let's go there.
Velma is a black Asian, and Daphne is half Asian, half white, and they're both bisexual. Obviously, there's more than one lesbian kissing scene. Another scene features teenage boys kissing. And there's plenty of examples
Pause
of...
real quick. This is all actually advertising. Like if you're the Velma people, you're like, thank you for advertising it to your oppressed audience, among whom maybe like 10% are going to be like actually titillated enough to tune in because of that stuff.
Right. Oh, two lesbian kisses? Oh my God,
even, like,
this is
gay
outrageous. Stuff? Yeah, right. Well,
and then there'll be the percentage who hate watches too. So you got that on top of that.
That's the point. I mean, again, this show seems like it was specifically designed for hate watching, and I'm thrilled for like the fact that all of these repressed conservatives are going to tune in every week because they hate it so much, not because they're titillated by it.
Obviously, there's more than one lesbian kissing scene. Another scene features teenage boys kissing. And there's plenty of examples of DOINKS sexualizing children. So what happens when you let woke bullies take control of what should be considered funny? See, they do what they always do. They don't write comedy because they don't believe comedy is funny. They believe comedy, you're not supposed to laugh. You're supposed to clap angrily. Yes, finally, they're making out. Yes, that's what their comedy is.
Yeah, I love clapping angrily at kisses, but pretty sure Mindy Kaling, you can say what you want about The Office.
For folks just listening, he was clapping his hands there. As he was saying, yes, they're kissing.
Not anything else, right? Yeah. That slapping sound was not pornographic.
Oh my God! It just didn't even occur. A very different show if you're listening to the podcast.
Yes.
Yes, they're kissing.
Glenn Beck ASMR, like just like wet slapping sounds.
But like, shoot, I totally lost my train of thought. Damn it. Anyway, but Mindy Kaling wrote The Office, right? Like, she is interested in writing comedy. It's like the most watched comedy sitcom of the past 20 years in the United States.
We have the comedy writers that our capitalist economy wants to deliver us. This is just the market providing, Glenn.
I wouldn't say the show's not funny. It's just that it's not funny in a coherent way. It's the kind of funny that like every so often someone will just have a funny one-liner that is totally untethered from anything that's happening, which is fine if it's earned in the show. But in this show specifically, it just comes across as like, oh, that was funny. Let's get back to the not good stuff.
Yeah, right. We gotta end that there.
Sorry, I derailed it.
DOINKS!
We went blue.
The way he like, but that what mindset
like
is he in when he's like? What mindset is it where you have to like you're like you're putting yourself in the psychoanalysis where like I want to clap angrily. That's how I enjoy comic. Nobody's doing that.
Nobody is, right?
Like and to the like you're playing directly into the hands of the marketers. The same way like She-Hulk, that have those lines in there that are just like perfectly designed to make either people on like the liberal side or the conservative side just like freak out, because it's trying to freak you out. That's why they put that stuff in there about like the She-Hulk being like, well, I actually have to suppress my anger, people judge me. Like that's meant to drive you crazy.
That's why the most revolutionary thing I can possibly do is like the show earnestly, because it's, good and funny, not because of how many people it makes mad, which is everybody.
Yeah, I mean, be transgressive and try to enjoy it. Is there anything enjoyable in it at all, except for just like the anger it creates? Because that's all I'm getting from it.
Because for my money, the best comedy now, I think Abbott Elementary is good for like network comedies. That's kind of the only one I keep up with. Reservation Dogs is probably the best overall, like as an actually good show and good writing. I don't know what you guys think about comedies these days.
Well, we were just saying before the show really quickly that Marvel has there's no actual comedies that come out in theaters anymore. Although Megan was really funny, but there's no comedies that come out because everyone just wants like an action movie, and they have a few clips between their hot actors that get paid $20 million a year, and that's it. Yeah,
that's like the Joss Whedon effect on all cinema.
No.
Oh, for a second I was worried it was on my end, and he froze because of like my screen froze.
This was his opportunity. Space Case. Yeah,
I'll add, I guess. I've been watching, and it's going to sound very promotional, as if I'm about to email someone and ask for a raise. But I've been watching a lot of Bob's Burgers, and I actually appreciate that show now more than ever before.
I also independently am a Bob's Burgers fan as well. So
I think Benjamin's show, Bob's is good. Also Archer.
Oh, yeah, Archer I actually like more funny. Honestly.
Dicktown was also pretty good. I mean, it's short. It's a little bit like 20 minutes is how I want my comedy. Like Dicktown a little bit too short because it's over before it even starts.
But what we were saying about before the show about like the Joss Whedonizing of like Marvel dialogue is it just like literally. It renders like it flattens the stakes of these movies that are supposed to be so like totalizing and global and like universal to like, oh, like what's going on over there? Thor's got his big hammer. It's like shut up. Like can you guys just like talk about the stuff you're supposed to talk about? Like I don't need Thor and like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy doing a bit.
Can I just say but as somebody who doesn't watch, like, what do you want them to be serious about flying around in tights killing bad guys?
Well,
or just something that's more like about like they just don't have to act like they know what a DVR remote is. Like I just don't need them to talk about like that.
I mean, I think the reality, Bradley, is that's just that we don't really like those kinds of movies to the same degree other people do, and no amount of like polishing of the turd is gonna help.
And the problem is, I watch all of them.
Yeah.
So like
exactly. It's like when you guys say like, oh, this is the Joss Whedonification of superhero movies. I'm like, I was out before that even happened.
Batman's still good though.
And then when they try and go the opposite way with which they did in Eternals, which was directed by Chloe Zhao, who directed Nomadland, the Best Picture movie from 2020, it's just absolutely terrible. Like 2.5 hours of just like grinding, slow halting dialogue and so I'm just like, I don't know what the middle point is, but neither one is good.
Sorry, Bender, go on.
No, I was wanted to bring up Bob's Burgers because I've been watching a lot of it.
We have Brandon back.
For my truth telling, but
you've been censored. I mean, I think we might just have to move on from Velma, but closing thoughts.
I like to laugh, I guess.
I like humor too. I'm really into humor.
Still pro humor here over on the left.
The only thing you could say is that, Glenn Beck is just projecting because, for right wingers, comedy peaked when they were, sending each other Obama monkey memes back in 2011. And so that's all it really is.